This is Steve with the SRP channel. Just going over some LED lighting. I'm here at a job that I did almost 8 years ago, and they're still going, plugging away, and that is these LED lights under the cabinet front face of it. And here also. So you really can't see those when you're standing in front of it. You have to step pretty close in to actually see the actual LED channel on this. And so they're running down the side here, all tucked in, the electrical. That, of course, is low voltage wiring, so it can be stapled up on the side there. But this is on movable shelves. I told the customer that I don't recommend it as long as you are going to keep the shelves in place. And he said, no problem, I'll definitely do that. And he has been very pleased with it, and hasn't moved the shelves. Not that it'd be the end of the world, but I would have to come out for them to be moved. And this is the control down here, and the Kichler power supply. That's an older Kichler power supply. Originally had it dimmed with a dimmer. I believe it was a magnetic Diva dimmer, but that's a smart switch now, so they just go full brightness now. And that's a Kichler power supply. These are Kichler LED lights, and Clus, C-L-U-S, Clus aluminum channels, which I really like. They hold up really well. Obviously, these are old, and yeah, there's no discoloration. They haven't cracked. They don't get brittle, and that's really for the more expensive channels. That's kind of what you pay for. I've been doing these specifically for about 10 years and haven't had any issues with the Clus. They are a little trickier to get, but probably worth it. I'm going to try some other brands though, because it is getting harder to find it. Okay, now he wants the same lights put in these cabinets, or at least obviously the cabinets with glass fronts. It might not always be that obvious, I guess, if we're going to use them to see inside the cabinet, so that's usually not an issue. Also, this one here, off to the side here. So I've started out here. What was in place was these Juno here. I was going to try to grab one, but that's just a little Juno track. I think it's a Juno Track 12 system or something like that. It's uses these halogen little track heads on here that takes these little wedge lamps, and they're little halogen wedge lamps. And for the amount of heat this put out, these held up really well. The track is still in surprisingly good shape. And then that wire was ran above to a Acme buck boost transformer. 3 of those up on top of the cabinets. And then the wire ran down inside here on each side. And then I'm going to do like, oh my gosh, I was looking for those. My needle nose. I was looking everywhere for my needle nose. Oh my gosh. So, ADD electrician. So these are obviously going to go under the shelf here too, like the other one. And these are movable shelves, so he knows that, like on the others. So that's what I'm going to be starting out with, and I'll be cutting the aluminum track here shortly, and I'll show you the chop saw that I use for that when I do it, and how I measure out the runs. Okay, so we have the Kichler LED strip lights pretty much everywhere in the kitchen, even under the granite countertop, shining down, kind of giving a glow effect there. Then even the little cook areas, little cutout areas under the cabinets here. So if I'm gonna take a picture of that, but it's all the same. Kichler LED tape lighting. These are all fully dimmable and switchable. And then the same ones under here. And those are Klus aluminum channels. I really like using those. They hold up, they're easy to cut, but they're little plastic inserts, really hold up, they don't discolor. So each one of these cabinets has the same thing. Little guard brand reed switch here, off, and then boom, comes right on. Got a strip of the Kichler LEDs here, and then over here you don't see them, they're kind of backlit. Boom. I see here. See, so you don't really even see those. And the power supply for these is up in the attic. So in the master bedroom, these are the two power supplies for the closet lights. Kichler. And then another Kichler. They're identical size. You can kind of see the size there. But those are the low voltage leads coming out of those to the individual locations. Okay, so I replaced the reed switch. This reed switch can be operated normally closed or normally open. So some of them can't be that way, but it's good that these are. So this is actually be wired normally open. So these are the same kind of switches used in security systems too, that are wired to the windows. It's like identical type, but this one is quite a bit more heavy duty. I'm going to show you how to figure the length on these. So I grabbed a shelf, two of the shelves from the cabinets, and just brought it over here to our little work area, or what I made a work area. So this is one of the longer ones here, and so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm using some pieces I have here, and so I need 3 of those, and so this one will work out perfect. So the way we do it is, so LED lighting, or at least the Kichler, is cuttable every 4 inches. That's pretty typical for LED tape lighting. I think pretty much all of it is cut that short, or can be. So that's the cutting points on that. So that has to do with as far as how much we can get to fit on our shelf or whatever we're doing. This can be used for really anything. You can do under cabinet lights, pretty much in task lighting, anything. So when you do, you want to lay this out and get about 1.5 inches on each side. Here's the 4-inch here where it'd be cut. So you lay this part here that's going to be cut about 1.5 inches to that end, and then leave about 1.5 inches on that end, And then carefully cut that right there. So then we have our piece, and we're gonna have then 3 more of these. We're gonna do them all the same. So this one will have 3 of this length. So then we grab our piece of aluminum channel and then lay it inside here, and then give about an inch on each end, like inch here, and then an inch here, right there. And so then we're going to mark it right here with an inch. So then that gives us plenty of space to come in on that end with the wire and fitting at the end. And if it's more than an inch or whatever, just probably you don't want to do it any less than an inch. And then what we're going to do is cut this at that length, and then do 3 more of these at that exact length, which I'll show you that here in just a minute. Okay, so now we're going to cut our aluminum channel, and so I have all 3 of them marked here with pencil because I took the measurement of the one, and we need 3 of them, so obviously we're going to do 3 of these aluminum channels cut the same distance. And so what I have here is just a regular what I call a chop saw, or just, you know, you're basically a compound saw, but it has a special non-ferrous blade on it. They're expensive. They're about 80, 90 bucks, but you really have to have that. That's one of the things with this. It goes through the aluminum channel and cuts it, but you have to go really slow with it. You can also do the reflectors with it too, or you can cut those by hand. So we're going to start doing the first one. Going to line your blade up. Hold it tight. You have to go really slow. This is a good blade too, but you got to go real slow. If you go into it real hard, it'll chop and go flying, and debris or debris, one or the other, will come flying at you. So we're going to cut this one. That's it. You can even see here, you don't even have, this makes such a good cut with that blade, you don't even have to file the ends. Please excuse the dirtiness of my workplace here. Usually a little more organized, but so I'm about to solder the ends of the wire. So I have these pre-cut and the lengths that I need over there, each being a little bit longer. What I do is solder it to the LED light here, and then put a little end cap on, clean it, everything. But right now I'm about to solder it, and then so get your alcohol. Always clean these ends up really well. That helps solder adhere, especially on these 16 gauge. That's a little larger on most of these, so it's a little harder to get that to take. But usually what I do is get 2 little plops of solder on there, and then a little bit of flux on here, and pop it on there. And then what I do, the rigid side on here, I'll make the negative for polarity, and then the smooth will be the positive. So I just started at this end here, and then you just kind of peel it down. It's really easy to put on, so don't peel off all this at once. I always as I go, peel off the tape on there. Okay, so the next part is to put on these little end caps here. And you just slide them here. These come with a hole in them. That's the only way I buy them. They do have them with solid ends also, but I just get them all with a hole. And this wire just fits in it. So that'll be pushed in there. Then we'll take a measurement for our lens here, or diffuser. And also there's going to be one at the other end that we'll take a measurement for. And that's it, but that's part of this here. So these are kind of, these little tabs here are through Claas. Like each one of these are like $3. This stuff's pretty expensive. I think maybe that's why a lot of people are not using it as much, because it's even the little end cap things are expensive. Okay, so when I cut these, I used to do them on the chop saw out there, the one I just showed you. It's real hard because, I mean, that blade, you want to really grab these. What I usually started doing instead is I have these little nips here, and I just mark with a pencil. Sorry, it's going to have a pencil to show you where I want to cut here, and then I'll cut, you know, the edges, the bottom edges here and here, and then run a razor knife across the top, just like a good sharp utility knife, and then notch it here. And then like this one, I just actually snapped, so it was deep enough, and it made a kind of a clean break. And then I clean up any edges or do any fine trimming with the razor knife. It's soft enough where you can do that. And then you just push it in here and then work it in, which is what I'm doing right now. So, and I'm actually going to have to come back and put these end caps in. I just have 3 right now. I actually have some ordered, but that's not a big deal. These are the important ones because the wires in them, I can come back and push those in and add them after the fact. But you know, the customers probably wouldn't even notice if you didn't have the cap on there. But yeah, I'm kind of anal this way. These systems cost a little bit more, but you know, this is like a, you know, this should be something that in 15 to 20 years is just working just as well, looks the same, you know, doesn't have any issues for about 15 to 20 years. That's not unreasonable at all. That's, you know, some of these materials cost more, like the Kichler tape itself costs a little bit more, but, you know, it holds up. And the difference is also the cheaper tapes, when you cover this stuff up, this puts the heat inside of it. And so cheaper tapes might, you know, last, you know, okay, you know, but once you start covering them up, this adds more heat, this cover. That reduces the life. So, you know, all those things combined, you know, if you'd have cheaper ones, you're going to, you know, maybe last 4 or 5 years, and they're going to start looking ratty, and you have to replace it. So a little bit of, you know, paying more up front, I think is worth it. But the Kichler stuff, I've just had good luck with on these. Okay, so I took both of the shelves out here that are going to be going in the one I'm doing right now. And this is actually a lot easier than having them in place. So I just brought the shelves, and I'm marking them out for our little brackets here. This is actually Claas brand mounts too, which really they need to be. So I'm doing 2 per track, 2 per track on here, because I really think this is really rigid. And so I got one this end and the one at the other end. These really don't sag, and I got them pretty secure with these little screws here. Oh gosh. So I'm using those little screws here. So I had a manicure the other day. Can you tell? But anyways, using those and coming about a 1/2 inch out. And I used my level as a 1/2 inch template on here. So it's there, then marked. So I'm going to use this for the rest of them here. So it's an easy way to get the exact distance every time. So try to do things like that as opposed to measuring out a 1/2 inch every time. Find something you can use as a template or make one. Makes it a lot easier to do. And this is I got all my other pieces, scraps put up. And this is a little tube I made to carry them in. That's actually really handy. Keep all the scraps of this stuff in. Okay, here's the 3 LED strips installed. That one's behind there. You don't see it as much because that lip is deeper than these shelves. But look at the dimming level on that. That's the advantage of the low voltage dimming over just regular dimming. The low voltage, when I mean a dimmer that has a separate 1 to 10 volt dimmer like that, and that's what this is. That's a Lutron Diva dimmer. And then the little pink, purple low voltage hookups, that's pretty universal for all the low voltage dimming power supplies. But that's your low point adjustment there. So you just push this all the way down, and then you twist this little button right into the point where these come on. And that's where you leave that set. But that is really nice dimming on there. That's all the way up. So yeah, no flickering, anything. And then we'll take a look at above here. Yep. This is our power supply right here. That box is a junction box. But that's the low voltage. And I keep those out like that. It seems kind of weird, but it's low voltage wiring. That's fine on those. I secured it there, and then when it goes under. But the line voltage is in metal flex cable. That's actually 1/2 inch aluminum flex. That keeps everything nice and tidy and safe. The low voltage stuff like this out in the open is not a hazard at all. So that's low voltage and doesn't produce any hazard. Then we try to fasten these as good as possible. I have a stapler. It's sometimes harder to use it on this metal. I'm going to start using more of those little screw-in anchors here. It's really the best way to put it on these. So, but overall, I think it came out pretty nice. Okay, so I'm putting the new fasteners on with the new channel kit I have, and the brand is Hun Hun that I have, Hun. And this came in a 10-pack of 6.5 foot pieces, and these are the little brackets it came with. They're not as robust as or as large as the other ones, so I put another additional one here in the middle. But they did give plenty of them on there, so that is good. And here's some that I have in, not powered up yet. So I think they look good. I think have a nice finish look, actually. Just as far as just as nice a finish as the expensive stuff. So, okay, I put both power supplies over here. The reason was I could use the one dimmer control here, the low voltage one I ran for both of them, because you can link these power supplies together, like here, the wiring. So I have it. I put a little 1/2 inch conduit there to run the wires through, so it all works works well. And this way I can convert actually this 14.2 to a low voltage wire, and that didn't go to anything else. So from there out, it's a low voltage wire. That actually saves having to try to put one more dimmer over there. All right, everything came out really well. It went good. There's no hiccups or catches. The new track system actually worked good. I was pleased with it. So we'll have to see the longevity of it. I'm sure it'll be fine. All the little holders and straps that it came with seem to be well made, so I don't think that'll ever be an issue. But you could see back here on there, you can't see the top one. You can kind of see the middle one, and then you can't see the bottom one. Of course, that depends on how tall you are too. But as I said before, on the other one too, the customer, he knew that these shelves were movable, and so he just said he never really moves them, so didn't never see it being a problem. So, and if it was, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And this is over here, and this one's all in, and added a separate switch for this under cabinet. It was shared before, but you can see, I'll open this up, how low those down. No flickering. That's really awesome. So, and the other ones are the same way on there. And of course, this is switched over here and then dims the same. I hope this video was helpful. If you're an electrician or homeowner, you could take this task on. So this whole video too is to make it less intimidating. Even if you don't have the fancy saw blade, you can do stuff like just use a regular saw, file it out, make it smooth. So, overall, everything is real easy with this. Soldering would probably be the trickiest thing, and that's really, you just do it a few times, you'll get used to it. So, but I'll leave any relevant links down below, or any other information that I think is relevant. Please leave any comments. I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Thanks for watching this, and be sure to check out my other videos. And of course, like and subscribe.